had students of our teachers for a long time. And this year we have a lot. And so we have Melissa and Camilla Limon. Their mom is teaching our kindergarten class. We have Harper Pilani, whose mom is also teaching kindergarten. We have Lindsay and Carly Maloney, and their mom is a nurse at Hoover, hence their Hoover shirts today. And Grandma is teaching our 4-5 combo, Mrs. Cliff. And then we also have Alora, whose mom is doing a long-term sub as a para for us this year. And so they're going to lead our flight school today.
Let me do this first. Let me call the meeting to order. 4 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order and let everyone know that we are filming this. And so you can look on YouTube, on the district YouTube channel, probably the beginning to middle of next week, and you can watch yourselves saying the pledge, okay? How fun would that be? You're on a YouTube channel. Nice. We are also live streaming for anyone that is interested in that in the future, because if you're here, obviously, you're not live streaming. But we may have people checking in via live stream, so we count that. And Barb, are we? Okay, we've got both running. So now we're going to do the pledge, and the flag is up there. And you can say ready, begin whenever you're ready, and we will all join you in the pledge, okay? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You all did such a great job. Now, what grade levels are you in? You're in third, fifth, third. Kinder, what grade level are you? Kinder, have fun. How was it that the person in the grade was just out of
Well, it's nice to see you guys, and we really do appreciate you being here. We are very old, and sometimes we forget the words in the pledge, so it's nice to have people helping us remember things. We really do appreciate it. I also want you to know, when I was a young person, I went to school here. I went to Gilbert. I am a Gilbert Grizzly from a long time ago, so I'm feeling very close to you all right now. And I really thank you for being here and helping us out. We wish you nothing but the best for the rest of the week, okay?
Do you have any questions for us? No? It's okay if you don't. Thank you for being here, and thank you to the teachers who made sure that you were here today. Yeah, that being your mom, mostly, right? Thank you all. Have a great night. Oh, she's cold. It's always such fun to start that way. Okay, next we have the Yakima Land Acknowledgement, and Ron Walker will be reading that tonight.
Yakima Land Acknowledgement. Today, schools in the Yakima School District rest the ancestral lands for 2 confederated tribes and bands of the Yakima Nation. People of Yakima Nation inhabit more than 12 beautiful communities across Adams, Denton, DeLand, Douglas, Franklin, Grant, Kittitas, Cat, and Yakima counties. Today, we honor those native peoples who are tied to the land, history, legends, and culture. We acknowledge their descendants who live in the world today. We thank the caretakers of this land who have lived here and continue to live here since time immemorial. An acknowledgement is a simple, powerful way to show respect and a step toward correcting the stories and practices that erase Indigenous peoples' history and culture. It also honors the truth. As a school district, we will continue to build upon our relations with the Yakima.
Thank you, Norm. Next, we have just a moment of silence for both a staff member and a student who we lost in the last few weeks. The staff member is Shirley Marsh, and we have a student who, because he is a minor, we won't name, but he attended Martin Luther King Elementary School. Shirley Marsh was born September 15th, 1931, and passed away on October 6th of this year. Shirley was born in Walla Walla, Washington, and grew up in College Place. She married Keith Linton, and they celebrated more than 50 happy years together. After serving at several posts of service for the Department of Fisheries, they finally settled in Yakima, raising 4 children. She helped Keith build 2 lovely homes for the family in Yakima, the first in town and the second on a farm in West Valley. Shirley enjoyed serving migrant students and their families in the Yakima School District and retired after more than 20 years of service. She was a migrant record specialist in categorical programs. Often after retiring, she was approached and received hugs from former students in the community that she served. Shirley had many hobbies. She enjoyed square dancing with Keith, creating ceramic pieces, painting flowers in oils or watercolors, and being a homemaker. She was a wonderful cook and raised beautiful flowers, grew a vegetable garden, and canned fruits and vegetables. She volunteered at her children's schools and attended band and choir concerts, other school events, 4-H horse shows, and Boy Scout events. She even found time to be a Girl Scout leader. After retirement, she and Keith hit the road as snowbirds and enjoyed several years in Arizona during the winter months, dancing, crafting, and traveling. Several years after Keith's passing, Shirley married the second love of her life, John Marsh. She gained a second family through that marriage, and they enjoyed many years of combined family gatherings, camping, travel, cruises, and gardening together at their home in West Valley. We send our deepest sympathies to the family of our student and to the family of Shirley Marsh. Could you please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you very much. Again, the condolences from the board to our staff member and our student who have passed. Next on our agenda, we have the reason why we're here today. It's my pleasure to be able to introduce to you Principal Rossback, right? And she's going to do a presentation on Gilbert Elementary. Do you have anything to add before we move over there?
I'll save my comments for the end. I just simply like to acknowledge that Sean, being involved in this pair of principals together, have been including your 3rd year, correct? 4th year, 4 years together. So it's one of our longer tenure teams, and we're excited for your leadership and for your staff to be here tonight as part of this presentation. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. Our mission at Gilbert is creating the connection between learning and life. You see this nice picture of our school. We were very grateful that our school was painted right before school started. We've actually had a lot of compliments on how nice it looks, and it does. So. This is a picture. One of our teachers last year had to retire early due to medical reasons, and her family was having a kind of support gathering, and a lot. So this is a picture of a lot of her family, but a lot of our staff attended as well. People purchased T-shirts to do fundraising for the medical needs that she had coming from that. And so at Gilbert, we do like to think of ourselves as a family, and we support each other as often as we can, as much as we can. So with the closing of Discovery Lab, we were lucky enough to get Miss Hubbard to come and be our new school librarian. And one of the things that's really neat, besides all the additional books that she brought, is she has 16 sewing machines. And so she started a sewing club. It just started last Tuesday, was the first session. And we had about 10 kids, 11 kids who signed up to learn how to sew on sewing machines, which was really cool. And so yes, last week they were learning the parts of the machine and how it works and stuff like that. But I'm really excited to see what they're able to do. This is our instructional leadership team, our ILT. We have a lot of people in new roles this year. In fact, our second grade is the only grade level that had the same people. Other people either moved to different positions, or we hired new people, or people retired, or whatever. So lots of new people this year, lots of team building, lots of trying to get back moving. But last June at the Leadership Academy, that's a picture of some of us who attended the day that teachers came to support. So when we think about the YSD strategic plan, we focus on the compass, just because that's our shorter version. And our goals this year align with 1, 2, and 3. And so we're focusing on early learning, developing a strong foundation in the early years. Okay, and then empowering and connected, supported, and engaged, and then equitable opportunity to achieve core mastery and critical thinking. Thank you to my sidekick, Anthony. So our school improvement goals for this year are that all students and staff know what it means to have grit. That's our PBIS acronym, that Grizzlies have grit, which is guide and lead by example, reflect and persevere, integrity, make good choices, and take responsibility. Gilbert students will increase daily attendance by an additional 5% to 95% as measured by Skyward attendance by June of this school year. And then Gilbert students will increase their ELA scores from 29% to 60% as measured with the SBA by spring of 2024, so in the next 2 years. We will focus on Common Core State Standards Reading Standard 1 across all grade levels. And Gilbert students will increase math scores from 17% to 50% as measured with the SBA spring of 2024, so also within the next 2 years. We're focusing on mathematical thinking as scored by the CBM Math Automaticity Assessment in FastBridge, which is a lot of words to say. We took a kind of dipstick of where our kids were, and what we found out is that they were really struggling with the automaticity, the knowing their facts, the being able to reason out why they should use a procedure or whatever for them. And so we're increasing that from 53 to 70% by spring in 2 years. These are our demographics. We're almost equal male to female. One of the things, it's fairly similar to the rest of the district, but one of the things that is a little bit unique about Gilbert is our special education. We're at 26%. We have 4 self-contained classrooms that focus on students with autism. When we look at our Smarter Balanced assessments from last year, coming back full-time after COVID, it was definitely a challenge. I think it was probably a challenge district-wide, but definitely for us. And so we did better and we're close to the rest of the district with our ELA scores, but math is our opportunity for growth this year, so something we're focusing on a lot. We did really well. We were very happy with our science scores. 33% of fifth graders passed, and considering we didn't really have science during COVID when we had our hybrid year, and then coming back and trying to make up for lost time, we were pleased with those scores. For our behavioral data, for our attendance specifically, we have 92% of our students who attend full day, and 93%, that's in fifth grade. That was our highest score. Our lowest score was fourth grade. We still had 87% that were attending full day, and 88% that were period attendance, so maybe showed up late or left a little bit early. Our goal, so it averages out to about 90%, and our goal is to get to 95 by the end of the year. When we look at our discipline incidents, this is really anytime a teacher puts in a discipline, so it's something beyond where a student has a warning, or it's something that's beyond just a minor little thing. It's something that is now kind of a growing incident. And I have them separated by grade levels, and you can see that kindergarten has the highest number. And one student accounted for 17 out of 22 of those incidents. In first grade, similar. One student accounted for 10 out of 16. And in second grade, also similar, where one student accounted for 10 out of 13. So we have some students with big behaviors who blow out of the classroom frequently that we're working on, that are special plans for. One of the things that we've noticed that's part of our post-COVID reality regarding student behavior, we have 5 students who have either never been to school at all or haven't been to school for over 3 years who've enrolled this year. Another thing that we've found is that our dysregulated students are more dysfunctional than they were before. They have bigger behaviors when they're asked to do something in the classroom. That can look like temper tantrums, running away, aggressive behavior. And so all of these are things that we're working on really hard to try to change. For supporting our behaviors, all our classrooms teach social emotional curriculum. One of the things that we teach is Mind Up, which is the why. It's why your brain reacts the way it does. When you're in your fight or flight response, you're thinking with your amygdala. And so it's really cute because kids will tell us, well, I was in my amygdala when we're talking to them about why they did something. So we use Mind Up curriculum, which is part of the Goldie Hawn Foundation, to help children understand the why their brain reacted, or maybe why they reacted. We also use zones of regulation regularly, which focuses on the what. The theory behind this, so we have kids check in every day with what zone they're in, and the theory behind this is you can be angry, you can be sad, you can feel however, it's okay, whatever your feelings are. It just is important how you deal with those and how you direct that, how you take care of it. Do you need to take a time out? Do you need a break? What can help you get back? The goal is that they're in green, because that means that they're ready to learn. But sometimes they come blue, a lot of times tired, right? And so we have kids check in several times a day to find out where they're at, what kind of supports they need, and talk about that. And then the other piece that we use is second steps, which is the how. And that is something everyone uses district-wide. It starts with teaching kids how to listen, how to focus their attention, how to use self-talk in a positive way to help themselves calm down. Also, how to be assertive. If someone's picking on you, how do you stand up to them? How do you make sure your voice is heard? And then it also teaches empathy, how to calm down, and problem solving steps. And so students learn how to work through those problem solving steps. They learn some different strategies for calming down, and then empathy, how to put themselves in the other person's perspective. Because as we know, especially with elementary students, they're often very egocentric and think about themselves more than they think about others. So we juggle, we have these 3 different curricula, and last year we had John Solar here as our behavior specialist. He's an assistant principal for early learning now, but he helped come up with, along with Sean Orminski, our assistant principal, came up with a lesson format of how to teach all these things. And so we have this in our staff folder. All the links are live links that go to videos about different calm down videos, ones that are appropriate for different grade levels. And teachers can really follow this through, teach the grit expectations, which is part of our PBIS. And then they can also, it links to Mind Up and Second Steps and all the different pieces. So it's all there and they don't have to figure out like, should I teach Mind Up first? Should I teach Second Steps first? What's more important? This has all been mapped out really nicely. So one of my favorite success stories, which true story sometimes feels more successful than others, is my friend Jordan. And he started out with a lot of emotional issues. He's in 5th grade now, but he's been here since he was in kindergarten. He was following the footsteps of his older brother and makes a lot of bad decisions. During COVID, when we first shut down, the year that we did hybrid, and we're mostly online, he didn't attend at all. Sean and I had to go to his house. Had to find his house then. And so we eventually got him back to school. But because he's missed so much and because school's hard for him and because he has some anger, it's hard for him sometimes. So this year, one day, he's in my office and he's complaining about everything. And I said, well, what can we do? Let's make a plan. And so he agreed to make a plan, which we did. On this particular day, he was like, where's Mr. Solar? I miss Mr. Solar. So we decided we should text him a selfie. So we sent Mr. Solar that picture of us, and he sent us back a picture of him with Pigeon because he didn't have anyone in his office. But we came up with a plan. Jordan is actually the one who created the plan. And his incentive that he wanted to work for was the last 15 minutes of the day. He wanted to hang out with me and play games. So sometimes it's with me. Sometimes it's with our PE teacher, Mr. Sear. Mr. Chapman also volunteered to teach him piano because he wants to learn piano. So he comes in the last 15 minutes of the day. And he created the plan. And so he said he could only miss 2 points. And if he had all the rest of his points, then he got to spend those 15 minutes doing something. So we've played with a giant soccer ball. We've played basketball. We've played catch. He's helped me do stuff. It's not all perfect. It's not all perfect. He still has had some issues. After when he has downtime that's unstructured, that's what's hard for him. But we have a new plan too, where he's helping me in the gym after school with student pickup, and he's rewarding other students for their good behavior, which he really seemed to like. So we try to focus on the positive. We use PBIS, Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. Everyone does in the district. Most schools do. We try to focus really a lot of attention on the 5-to-1 ratio of positive comments. Research has proven that for every negative comment that anyone hears about themselves, it takes 5 positive comments to outweigh that. And so we focus really hard to load our kids up with positive comments. That's true in a marriage, that's true with your best friend, that's true anywhere. Anytime the negative is outweighing the positive, that person's not going to have a good feeling. So we try to really hard to focus on the 5 to 1. We also use PBIS rewards program, which our PTO has purchased for us the last few years. It's expensive, but it's an online program where we can go in and give students points. We can mass assign it. We have a reward store in there, one that's for the whole building, and then teachers can also set up their own for their classrooms. So students have things that they're working for. They can go in and check how many points they have. It seems to work really well. And our PBIS is that Grizzlies have grit. G is guide and lead by example. R is reflect and persevere. I, integrity, make good choices. T is take responsibility. So we also focus on the T&L strategies and the 3 key levers. The one that we're really focusing on right now is our professional learning communities, our PLCs. And so this is our group that went to the PLC conference in Seattle in August. And right now we're working on shared collective efficacy, meeting in the same location to support with questions and ideas, including all our specialists, everybody. Everyone is collecting data on the same standard. We're using common formative assessments, and we're sharing strategies, different ideas for teaching strategies, as well as different ideas for anchor charts, things that teachers can go back and have ready to go. Our school goals. For our literacy focus, we are trying to help students move beyond the foundational reading skills and begin to apply and transfer knowledge. Once they kind of get those foundational skills, they just want to read, but maybe not think about what they're reading. So we're trying to change that. For our mathematics focus, we're going back to using number talks and mental math to increase students' problem solving and mathematical reasoning skills. And for social emotional learning, our focus is reducing the number of overall behavior incidents, but by doing that, by providing a school that our students feel part of and want to be a part of, and helping them understand and verbalize the why behind their behavior. So how we do that is we're going to be challenging students' thinking and reasoning to a depth of knowledge level 2 for reading, for the literacy focus, getting them beyond just that basic recall of information and having them really think and apply what they've read. For mathematics, before COVID, all our teachers led number talks as part of our daily math curriculum at least 3 times a week. So we're getting back to that, having that be an expectation, purchasing books for teachers who are new and need that as a resource, but really focusing, getting back on that number talks. And then for social emotional learning, we're using the 3 different curricula that I discussed, Mind Up, Zones of Regulation, and Second Steps, to help students learn how to control their own emotions. So when we introduced ourselves at the school board meeting earlier this fall, one of the facts that Sean and I shared was that we had 96 students who applied to be part of our student leadership program, which is huge. We've never had that many. It's like 3 times as many as we normally have. We normally have around 30. So what we're going to do is have all of our 4th and 5th grade students participate in the leadership program so that we can accommodate all the students. And so Mr. Ryan, who's our counselor, is bringing in this program called LASER, which stands for Lawyers and Students Engaged in Resolution. We have 4 lawyers who are coming in once a week. I did notice I had a typo on one of the names. Parker Parsons, and then Sarah McKenna Flory, who is Steve McKenna's daughter, Sarah Woodward Pratt, and James Yaki, whose daughter attended Gilbert. It's going to start in January. They're going to come in once a week, and they'll be teaching students about diversity and respect, understanding conflict, mediation, communication skills, mediation in practice, stress management skills, negotiation and consensus building, and applying mediation. So helping our kids have all these great skills that will help them be leaders, not only at our school, but as they move forward to middle school. That's it. Questions?
Thank you, Stephanie. Any questions from board members? Go ahead.
Of course. Before staff and personnel leave, since I am a former Gilbert Grizzly, I just want to say a couple of quick things. First off, thank you all so much for everything you do for our kids, for our students. Norm and I were joking briefly as we walked in. Jim Meyer was the principal here towards the end of my career. I wish I could remember the name of the principal when I started. I can't, because the only person that mattered to me when I started here in kindergarten was Libby Nauer. Libby was a folkloric kindergarten teacher in this district for many, many, many years. And she's no longer with us, but she left an amazing imprint on my life. And I remember Bonnie Tilke and Sally Halfmoon, Carol Roman, Carol Lowe, and of course, the most important person in my entire education was Larry Lou Thomas Carson, who was the music teacher here. And it's still a lifelong passion for music. I look back when I was a senior in high school at the number of kids in my high school band who all came out of the elementary music program here. And it struck a bell with me then about what a difference one person can make. So I want to encourage each and every one of you, because you may not know the people who 25 or maybe more years sitting in an elementary library remembering you. But those students will all remember each and every one. So I want to say thank you. And thank you for the presentation. And my question is, this amazing increase in applications for the student leadership program, what do you attribute that increase in applications to?
Amazing what kids do. And so our focus last year was some of our kiddos that were making poor choices. We led them into a leadership role, and they shined and loved it. And then they get to wear blue vests, and they have positions throughout the building. And I don't know, they just, even the first week of school, they're like, Mrs. Hornets, when student leadership going to begin? And so you give them a job and responsibility, and they just are amazing. So I think it's just the belief that we believe in them and that they are capable and they are able to lead and guide by example. And so they really do that. It's pretty cool.
Any other questions from board members?
I don't have questions, I have a few comments. I just wanted to commend you and the faculty staff here for the work that you're doing, because as I listened to your presentation, I could tell that you could have spoke a lot more on the post-COVID reality. There's a lot more that students are dealing with, the mental health, increase in behavioral issues, the academic achievement or the lack of, or the slow progress to that. And I would suspect, unfinished learning from 2 years ago and trying to catch up. And so I know you just touched a little bit on that, little iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, right? So I just wanted to commend you for that, for your leadership and addressing those issues and helping our students, because that is a challenge. I would suspect that that's a very, very difficult challenge that you're facing. Just with COVID, now you add in other regular day-to-day things. Right? I think just taking mental health by itself is quite a challenge, but then you look at everything else that's related to the post-COVID reality. So I just wanted to thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you
your staff. I know it's very difficult and challenging, but I think you have a great plan in place that's going to help them to be successful despite that reality, right? So again, I just wanted to thank you for that, and please pass on our thanks as well to all the staff and all the wonderful staff at Gilbert Elementary. I did, my two sons did attend as well when they were at that age, so I know the school very well. So another time here, but thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Norm?
I was just struck by how much education has changed in Yakima in the last 20 or so years. When I was counselor at Whitney, it was almost a battle to get into a classroom, social emotional, preventive learning. Now it's classroom I talked with Dad. See it as part of their mission, as well as academics, to account for its social community. So it's fun to see that progress.
Yeah.
Stephanie, you had a great presentation, and I appreciated seeing all the different aspects of what it is that you're doing here and making a difference for all of your little Gilbert Grizzlies. I was struck by the little statistic you had in here about how many students you have who have never been to school before. And I thought, where in the world did those 4th and 5th graders go if they're 4th and 5th graders and have never been to school? I could understand maybe 2nd graders because they would be, you know, COVID.
When COVID started, they would have
Right.
been at the beginning. Yeah, we had the same question. And then figuring out how do we support these students, because academically they're not where other 4th and 5th graders are.
Right.
And so figuring out how many resources can we pour in and what do we need to do to wrap around and kind of help them. The other piece with that is our students who haven't been to school for a long time have huge social emotional issues that,
Right.
you know, we're also trying to support. So
Right. Well, I appreciate all your hard work, especially with those 5 or 6, however many there are. Because, I mean, if you haven't been to school until you're in 5th grade, I really struggle with how can we get them to where they need to be by 12th grade? Because they've missed so much already. And I appreciate the fact that you're kind of loading them up with all of the resources that they can take and probably more. I too was struck by your attendance and the high levels of attendance that you have. Congratulations on that.
thank you. We are very excited. It is not by accident. It is by design. During COVID, Sean and I would show up at people's houses, which I didn't always appreciate, but we were there. And now Sean still takes either the counselor or behavior specialist or someone else with her, and they go and show up. And so, oh, you're having a hard time getting up here. I'll bring you an alarm clock tomorrow, or I'll call you with a wake up call, or whatever it is that those kids need to help them get here. Sometimes in elementary, it's a lot of parents are the ones that need the support or the guidance more than the students, because at this age they seldom are getting themselves to school.
Right.
But
Well, congratulations on your success in that area, and thanks for the alarm clocks, Sean. Mr. Superintendent, do you have anything to close us out with here?
Certainly, I just want to thank you for your wonderful presentation, and I didn't recognize before that we were in the presence of such an honored alum. And, he made the statement, Director Beckett, that he used to be a Grizzly. I think it's once a Grizzly.
Always a Grizzly.
So we'll make sure
True.
that he knows that.
yeah,
Also, then knowing that, John, I appreciated seeing John Solar's photo and the work that he had done here. Of course, now he's at our reconfigured Discovery Early Learning Center. So
Yeah.
obviously not a shut down facility, but reconfigured for the purpose of early learning. I do commend in seeing your presentation, the ambitious school improvement goals, very impressive. When you look at moving from 29% to 60% in ELA, math from 70% to 50%, to achieve those goals will be fantastic, phenomenal. I can't wait for the rest of the district to see that happen. and for us to come here to learn what you're doing to make such great improvements. So those really are bold goals, and I appreciate your leadership team in establishing that, because I'm sure it wasn't you in isolation, it was a collective effort. Also, I was struck as well by the leadership numbers, and I think, in mentioning your leadership team, it's not just your leadership or that of Sean, it's your entire team and your entire staff. So we recognize as a board that it takes a village, so to speak, to make the changes that you're talking about. We appreciate seeing so many staff members here this evening in this wonderful library setting. I have to just share to be here to see so many books and boxes, and to know what is available to our students here is wonderful. My wife is a librarian. I've been in her library at East Valley Central Middle School, and they don't have as many books as you have here. So it's not about the books, it's about access and making sure that those are available to our students. And I look forward to seeing it continue to grow, and glad that you have a wonderful librarian that takes that position seriously. And then lastly, I just wanted to say that my connection here runs deep as well. So my oldest daughter started here, and so I think three of us making those comments and having fond memories, not only in the positions that we're in, but thinking back to, especially myself, when you start out with a child, and my oldest daughter came here, and how tied we are to those individuals. I have on my lanyard a little gift that was a small little pacifier that was given to me this year, and it's to remind me that every child is somebody's baby, and that we get the greatest treasure that anybody has in sending them to our school. And so thank you for taking that position so seriously, that responsibility so seriously, and to see the increases in the goals that you have is just heartwarming. And again, thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. We're a go big or go home kind of team. So we're going to shoot for the stars because our kids need it and they deserve it. Absolutely.
Okay, we understand if you have staff members that need to leave. We understand that home may be calling, or some other requirement that your place that you need to be may be tugging at you. So if you have staff that need to leave, we completely understand. We do have a little bit more to dig through on our agenda, but thank you very much for providing us a home for our meeting today.
Thank you for coming. We're glad to have you.
Thank you
Should I turn?
for now. Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda are items of board interest. First being reports from members of the board. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Okay, we did have WASDA Legislative Committee meeting this weekend, but I was on grandma duty, so I didn't tune in very well to that meeting. But I expect that there will be kind of meeting minutes or some kind of note that will go out to us to let us know what they come up with for the legislative platform. Mr. Superintendent, do you have an update? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, at our business meeting, I looked at the discipline reports. I just wanted to know if we could have a discussion, not today, but soon, just to help me better understand the data there. It seems like there might be an increase in discipline reports. So I just wanted to better understand that, see what the current trend is. And then just on another note having to do with mental health, I don't remember the source, but according to the article I read, that there's been an increase in suicidal ideation and attempts, specifically with young women or young ladies, right? So there's been an increase, I think, of 80% for 10 to 14-year-olds. And then also about 110% increase from 15 to 18 years of age. So I'm just wondering if that's part of the discipline report, or some of the mental health services we're providing, if we're making a dent in that or addressing that with female students, and how the district is addressing those type of issues. I'm sure that if it's a national statistic, I'm sure that it's probably impacting the Yakima School District as well. So just more, I guess, maybe a discussion with the board or maybe myself and one of the superintendent's team members just to look at the discipline report and maybe some of the mental health data as well. So just something that I ran across in terms of some research. And then again, just questions after reading that report from our business people.
Great, thank you, Raymond. Do we have any other board members that would be of interest, that discussion would be of interest for? Yes, okay. So do we have, I don't know how far out we're scheduled for discussion topics at a study session or at one of our Monday meetings or at a business meeting. But if we could get that on the calendar.
We're scheduled 3 years out. However, Omar is scheduled in the spring, and he oversees a lot of the areas of which you're speaking. So if we could hold out till spring, if not, we can make some adjustments to move that up in the rotation, so to speak, to get that in front of the board. But we do have that on the schedule for this school year.
Okay.
It depends on how soon you would like to see that.
And is this a subject that you want to talk about like tomorrow or?
Well, I personally would. Maybe I could meet with the staff member or team member. I know Graciela was also interested in the data. So I just want to see what the trend is right now for increasing how much and so forth and what we're doing. Because I know that the principal here mentioned dealing with an increase, right? And the post-COVID reality, which is it's a new term. I haven't heard that term. I think it makes sense. And I'm just interested in what we're doing to address those needs.
So moving it up from spring, we could move it to the retreat, which is in January. We would have Center for Education Effectiveness student data back by that point, which would be helpful. If January is still too far, we can do the one-on-one if that would work. So what would work better? Would you like to have that before January?
I personally would like a one.
Okay, absolutely. Like to have.
But then maybe we could include that in the retreat so that we can have the full board discussion on it. Okay. Thank you. Anything else from members of the board? All right, Mr. Superintendent, you have an update for us today?
I have a few items to share with the board. First is that we had the Court of Appeals Division 3 present on our school sites today at Eisenhower High School. It was from 8 o'clock till noon. We had Judge Robert Lawrence Berry, Judge George Faring, and Judge Rebecca Pinnell, who held court in the auditorium at Eisenhower. It was the first time that has happened since the mid-'80s, is what they've shared. It happened first, I believe, in the Spokane area at Central Valley and Ferris High School, and then in Kennewick. So it's
So this was like real court.
Yes, we had our civics class from Eisenhower was there. We had an invitation to students from Davis to be there as well. It was quite an event. Actually, I had my one-on-one with Director Beckett today, and we actually met at Eisenhower, so he was able to sit there for a few moments and take in the proceedings. Also, it was very informative. After the session, I did return back in. Yeah. He was not there as a defendant. But to have the judges then also talk to our classes, answer questions of our students was something that certainly does not happen very often. And it was nice to see the interaction between the officials and our students. In addition, just to inform the board, I think you know that I was at the National P3 Institute in San Diego with Dr. Rodriguez here to my right, along with Hector Mendez, our executive director, who's over by the book stands there this evening. Thank you, Hector, for making time to be there, as well as 4 other members, representatives from the community also were with us, including ESD and EPIC. A presentation was assembled and put together for viewing of our peers. There were 12 different school entities that were represented, 4 states, 4 equivalents of ESDs across the country, and then 4 school districts, us being one of those school districts. So we look forward to being able to share the valuable thought process and where we're headed next regarding P3 and the work that we're doing to reach to achieve goal one. And I think that it bears repeating that the goals that you saw acknowledged today, this evening, in goals 1, 2, and 3, they're a focus of our schools because they're important to the board. And the work that you've done as a board to engage our community around the school, the strategic planning process and involving our community is paying great dividends in the way that we focus our efforts. Lastly, just an opportunity this evening, our Yakima Schools Foundation has an annual event, and it is Hoptoberfest, which is happening this evening from 5:30 to 8 o'clock tonight. If you're interested in attending, I should have the address here, but I'm getting all kinds of, so downtown, my season's performing Single Hill Brewery. It's all being yelled out to me. Thank you. A little concerned about how quickly that got out, but that's all right. So that's again from 5:30 to 8 o'clock tonight. Anything to support our Yakima Schools Foundation because they do so many wonderful things for our students, for our teachers, providing opportunities that are typically not funded out of our general fund balance or allows for some out-of-the-box creativity that we certainly want to see, and we're thankful for that. Aside from that, there's nothing else to report this evening, and look forward to our next meeting to share more.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have the first opportunity for comments to the board. These are comments that are related or connected to agenda items. Barb, do we have anyone who's, I could reach over there. Okay. So Miriam Hubbard wants to talk about self-contained classrooms with paras. And since Miriam is the librarian here, there she is. Can you come to the microphone and you'll have to turn it on. I don't know where the switch is. And you'll have 3 minutes. Let me just go through the parameters with you quickly. The purpose of community input is for the board to listen to concerns of the community. Speakers will be treated in a respectful manner. The board does not engage in dialogue at this time or typically respond to items that are not on the agenda. We do have a process whereby the board will respond within 2 weeks in writing to your comments. The audience is expected to give their attention to the speaker. You did sign in and provide us with contact information. Please introduce yourself and state all affiliations with the district. Comment on agenda. Oh no, we talked about that already. Keep comments to 3 minutes. Speak only once on each agenda item. Refrain from discussing the performance of an employee or the interpretation or application of the district's labor agreements, including grievances, and refrain from making derogatory comments about individuals. So Barb has put 3 minutes up on the screen, and when you start them, the clock starts.
What many of you also do not know is Mr. No knows me also as a teacher of his 4 daughters, and I'm sure he can regale you with stories of chicken mummies, Rube Goldbergs, and floating boats. My principal and vice principal did not know that I signed up, so they cannot be blamed for anything I say. I'm here to talk about the effects of the lack of enough paras on the self-contained classrooms and proffer some ideas to recruit quality paras for these very difficult positions. When there aren't enough paras in the self-contained classrooms, lunches, breaks, and prep times are missed by the teacher, as well as lunches and breaks by the paras who are there. Yes, extra time sheets are filled out, but the positions are physically and mentally draining. Missing those breaks leaves one extra tired as well as more prone to injuries due to tiredness. The teachers miss their preps and then don't have time to get those multiple individualized lesson plans per subject done for the students. Now magnify this by the number of self-contained classrooms in this district, each one having problems finding enough paras to staff the rooms as well as not having subs when they are gone. Physical and mental health is in jeopardy, which in turn leads to more absences and burnouts. I know that this is true of every school district. In this valley, there are many different districts, each competing for the same small pool of qualified people. What I am offering is the need to think outside the box. Posting these possessions on the job board isn't enough. District administration, not the school administrators, need to research and isolate the qualities that make someone a good para in a self-contained classroom. After these qualities are identified, go out into the public and actively recruit people with these qualities. Have tables at upcoming bazaars, get radio and TV spots. To find these people, you need to present the challenge. Pose the questions. Is something lacking in your life? Do you want to make a difference in the lives of the most challenged students, including students who need help with the very basic of life skills? You are trying to catch the attention of those who want a higher calling in life. Then when you find these people, after they have proved themselves for a specific length of time, realize you need to pay them more. Call it hazard pay, if you will. The teachers and paras are going home with bruises, injuries that leave scars, and more incurred when a student in their care melts down and loses control. Look in the past and you will see teachers who received head injuries that shortened their teaching careers and more. So go outside the box, identify those qualities. We need those people. There are many people who will respond because they are searching for that higher calling that they feel the need of inside themselves. Thank you.
Miriam, are you willing to share your written notes there with us? We have one board member that's not here today because of a work commitment. And if you could give those to Barb, then she could make sure that we all get them. Thank you. Ah, okay. Lindsay? Lindsay, do you think that this is addressed on our agenda, or can you wait for just a few minutes until we get to the second opportunity? There's only one? Really? Oh, yes. We are in a short meeting today. Okay. Well, let's go. Lindsay Madison.
Hello, everybody. Is Kristen in the room? Hi, Kristen. I'm
So-
Lindsay, and I work for the Greater Yakima Chamber of Commerce, and I'm more nervous talking to you guys than I am putting on congressional meetings and meetings for the school board. And meetings for the city council. Because you guys are the school board, it's hard to teach teachers and leaders like yourself why we need Lemonade Day. I don't know if you've heard about Lemonade Day, but we put it on at Sozo Field, and this was a chance for kids to learn to own, start up their own business, have investors, pay the investors back, and then be able to compete against each other with their own business. It basically taught them the 40 developmental assets and how to run the business. They competed against each other at Sozo. It was an amazing experience. I don't know if anybody here got a chance to go, but we had great results. I actually went as a city director for Yakima with 44 other city directors, and we got to compare notes. This is the first time Yakima County got to do it, and it was amazing because some of the cities and counties, they had over 2,000 registered kids with like just a few schools participate, and they had, I think, like 29 Lemonade Day stands that popped up, and we only had and that was 2,000 registries with them. With us, we had 127 registries, and 74 of them ended up showing up, and 29 stands. So comparatively speaking, our rate versus the amount of registers, was extremely high. I think the biggest area of opportunity for us was that we couldn't get it into the school board in time because we didn't know we were getting the program. The Greater Yakima Chamber of Commerce, we actually pay to have the license fee. I think this year it's going to be 10 grand for us to have this program. And we want to get it into the schools and not just a flyer through Peachtree. A lot of the other city directors, they're having this taught in after school programs. There's so many different ways that they can implement this program, whether it be a science fair project or an art, because they compete against each other. Who has the best tasting design, or best tasting recipe, who has the best design. So that could be art, and some of the kids, it was literally like a science fair project because they had little bubbles coming out of the drinks and pop rocks in there. And so there's so many ways that we can implement this program into the schools. And I think that, we will be knocking on your door next year. And we would love to have you guys participate with us because we know that kids are 38% more likely to start their own business if they run a business before the age of 12 years old. If they learn, all of these skills that this program teaches, it's basically a plug and play program that we have all set up for you guys that we just would love to partner with you guys on. So I'm going to just leave some information and hopefully we can be in contact about getting this into the school.
Thank you, Lindsay. It's intriguing. And you said it's in the spring?
Yes. So
Okay.
we did it later this last year than comparatively speaking, than all the other city directors. We actually got it in August. And so obviously school was out. It was, we ran the program during the summer. So we spent a lot of our dollars and our, manpower just trying to promote the program ourselves. And so that was a lot of hard work. But we think this program, it should be taught at some point in the school district. And then they can go and set up their stand and we'll have a day where they can show us what they came up with and compete and win prizes and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you for sharing this with us.
Is there any other questions? Anybody else see the Lemonade Day or go to it this year? You know about it? Yes.
I
Kristen.
saw a lot of pictures on Facebook of
Yes.
cute lemonade stand, and I wish I had known about it earlier.
It was pretty amazing, and I think that the cities that now that we kind of got the ball rolling with it, it's going to be a lot easier this year because now people know it's like bring your A game. It's a competition, but also we have Entrepreneur of the Year in Maxwell, who's 6 years old. He got a $500 huge check from the Greater Yakima Chamber of Commerce. He got a bike, and what the parents' feedback is the what they learned the most as a family is they how to work together, about how to obviously come up with a recipe. They learned about financial literacy. They saved some, they spent some, and they gave some to the community. And they learned, the kids learned basically just confidence, and that's the biggest take back that they gave.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Mr. Superintendent, do we have a need for executive session? Okay. There's nothing else for the good of the order. We are adjourned. Thank you all for joining us. And I wish you a safe trip home and a great rest of your week.